So, George, what are the biggest missing pieces in the standardization puzzle for the smart grid?
Well, I'd say um, there are many missing pieces, but they're getting worked. So I would say that the gap that we need to fill urgently is the definition at the customer interface, both in terms of the data that customers have available to manage their own energy usage, and the standards that the appliance industry can use to manufacture appliances that can be marketed anywhere. We can't have an electric dryer that works in New York State but not in Colorado, right? Because they have different standards. There has to be uniformity. So getting agreement on those common standards is really critical to enabling the marketplace to develop. However, it's tricky because we don't want to pick winners and losers and find out that we picked Betamax instead of VHS. So what we're trying to do is to get the industry to coalesce around a sufficiently small set of standards that will allow the marketplace to quickly develop, but do it in a time frame that's less than the 5 or 10 years that would normally take.
This brings me to another question, and perhaps you can comment on this, Ajit. It seems like it makes some sense to have standards that are national on the grid side or on the utility side of the equation, but on the consumer side, this is truly something that could be global, right? There are no specific factors that suggest that you need a hairdryer that works in the U.S. but not in Europe, but that's going to be a reality, right? That if you have U.S. standards for home appliances, we're going to end up in the same kind of situation where we are right now, right? You don't even have the same voltage in the U.S. as you do in many countries.
Well, I mean, to me, I think the smart grid will be won or lost on the consumers, on the customers. And I had this very disruptive discussion yesterday when I said that you really technically wouldn't even need to go much beyond the smart meter. You could do a lot of what is from the demand side and the consumer side. What they want to achieve could be done through normal things like home plug and technologies like that, which essentially connect devices to the internet, but don't necessarily have to go deep down into the energy networks, at least in the first phase. And that could be very disruptive. I mean, you could conceptually achieve what the customers want without getting too far down. But then, of course, you need the whole vision of smart grids to get the wider vision going, the green vision, the electric cars and stuff like that. But the consumers are need, and to reiterate your point, I agree. I mean, that's pretty global. That's pretty much IT standardization, which is around for a while. And
this brings me to another issue, though.
Could I just add in on that point? So we're trying very hard not to have U.S. standards. We're trying very hard to pick international standards because we want to see the market develop globally. And the reason is very simple. Most of the suppliers in this industry are global companies, and if they have to make needless adaptations as they move from market to market, it increases their cost. That makes the equipment more costly for utilities and electricity more expensive for consumers. So our view is everybody wins if we have global standards. The areas where that's going to be difficult are we do have sort of embedded infrastructure in terms of 110 versus 220 volts and so forth that will probably never be overcome. But when you get to the information management aspect of the smart grid, there's probably no reason why the standards need to be different.
But still, the NIST's work in this area and the Obama administration's initiative to work on interoperability on the smart grid is a U.S. initiative. I agree with you that picking standards, you pick double standards, but nevertheless, you are working and coordinating on issues that are truly sort of in a national context, although they also relate to the.
But we're very actively reaching out to other countries that are working similar issues so that we can all be at the table as we work through sort of the use cases and what the requirements are. So we set up something called the Smart Grid Interoperability Panel that I think over time will become something like the Internet Architecture Board is for the Internet. But we have the government of Japan participating in that, Korea, the EU. Now we're developing a relationship with Senelec and ETSI. So I think at the end of the day, everybody needs to look at what they need to do to serve customers in their, country or state. But we can all sort of work through the design of the system, together, and then hopefully maximize the common